Hey guys, it's Drake with the RPG Construct. Doing a new series that I'm going to call the DM's Double Tap. I'll get into why a little bit later in the video, but it's just going to be a bunch of short little kind of snippets, 5 to 10 minutes, just thoughts, things that come to mind, reminders of things, and maybe it'll sink in. So recently I ran a game where I asked for feedback from my players. I always do that. I think it's the only way we can improve as players or as DMs or GMs is to ask for feedback. Generally, it's pretty constructive because different people play games differently. But this one made me think about something. It wasn't bad feedback at all. But I had a player tell me that in the game, I didn't give them enough options. And that kind of got me thinking, because I thought, is that my job as the DM, to give them every option that they have? And I came to the conclusion that no, my job is to set the scene, give them the obvious, options. But as a player, it's their job to ask more questions if they want more information. I have a certain level of descriptions that I have to give. But after that, it's on them. If they want to do something cool and they need more information, you need to ask. If you're in a dungeon and there's one hallway and one door on the left that the DM tells you, well, ask if there's anything further. Is there anything before? Descriptors about the hallway, things like that. It's not the DM's job to give you every possible option. If that were the case, you would spend 4 hours on one scene and have an inconceivable number of options to do. Think about it, just sitting here talking to this camera. When I'm done, what are my options? I can do anything. There's an infinite number of things I can do just in this room. All right. So if you're going through a hallway or something like that, and the DM says, well, this is what you see at the end. It's a little bit dark. You see there's a little port or door on your left side, and just leaves it at that. That doesn't mean that there's nothing else there. That means that that's the pertinent information that the DM's giving you. Okay? It's impossible to give all the information. And I think good DMs do limit it. They're very minimalist. They do describe the scene well, but they can't give all that information. If I set up a story and I say, okay, this is your scene, and you can go through door 1, 2, or 3, and then you pick one. And then I'm like, okay, in the next scene, you can pick door 1, 2, or 3, and you pick, and those are your only options. That's boring. That's boring to me. And I think boring to most of you. And like I said, it wasn't bad feedback. It just really kind of got me thinking about this, that it is the players, it's part of the player's social contract that you are going to be creative and you are going to think as your character would, playing that role. Now, I don't know. I just think that if you want to do something cool and you want more information, oftentimes asking clarifying questions will spark something within the DM or GM that, oh, well, yeah, there's that too. Maybe they didn't plan for it, but they could do a little side thing or add something to it. And sometimes it's so cool that it just becomes part of it. Some of the best games that I've ever played as a DM are when my players did nothing that I planned for them, that they went past the door that I wanted them to, and I just had to improv it and wing it. So just a bit of a reminder, that if you're playing in a game, it is your responsibility to ask questions, ask the DM for information that you want. Now, that being said, this isn't a game of 20 questions in every scene. But within reason, ask for information that you want. If you don't feel that an option has been given, ask if you can do it anyway. Just because the DM doesn't tell you that it's available doesn't mean that it's not. We are telling a story together. We're telling a collaborative, make-believe story. And we're working together in that. Most DMs, especially in AbTab, are not going to railroad you. Most of them are pretty high on the improv scale, like I am. But to new players or players who maybe just forgot, it's on you. Make your DM look awesome. You'll be rewarded for that, I promise. DMs want creative players. DMs want players who think out of the box, right? So if you are just presented with door 1 and 2 and you think there should be a third option, go for it. Try it. No one is going to fault you for it. The worst thing they can say is no. So again, guys, just a little bit of a reasoning here. I called it the DM's double tap as a reference to that movie. I think it was called Zombieland with Woody Harrelson. And one of the rules for the zombie apocalypse was to do a double tap, to shoot the zombie twice to make sure that he was dead. So I'm calling this double tap because we've all heard this before. We've all heard this information before, or at least most of us. And maybe this time, the second time, maybe it'll actually sink in. So this is Drake with the RPG Construct, and this has been the DM's Double Tap. You guys have a good night.